Hey guys, Loves to Loom here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create my Calabasas bracelet. This is a 4-bar wide design, and it is actually a variation of one or two other designs that I have. But it's been sitting around a while, and I thought it was time to get it out to you guys. I'm going to be doing this version today, and I am going to be showing you a transfer version. That way we can make a full-length bracelet without an extension, only using 4 bars. So for today's video, you will need 169 bands. The breakdown is 61 of the pastel blue, 22 of this cream color, 42 of the glitter neon yellow, and 44 of the dark blue limited edition right there. You will need 4 C-clips for the transfer process, and you also need your hook. So let's go ahead and get those supplies ready, and then I will show you how to set up the loom. To make this bracelet, you need a total of 4 bars, and you do want to have them in a straight line, just like mine. That's all we will need today since we're doing the transfer. For anyone that doesn't know how to do a transfer or what I'm referring to, we lay a total of 2 different loom sets. We lay one, we loop it up, we then take that little piece, sit it to the side. We lay more bands, and then we reconnect that piece on, and then loop it up again. So it avoids a chain extension. So we are going to start by grabbing this pastel blue. And coming to the middle here, we're going to go straight on the 2 center pins. And then we're going to go horizontally out to the right and the left. Keep that color close by, but we are going to choose another color now, and that is going to be the cream color. This is technically pastel yellow, but to me it's like an off-white, so I just call it cream. But we're going to grab that now, and I'm going to be laying an X right in the center, right where we left off. Now we will go back to our first color, and we're going to start by laying a horizontal right on the top of that X. My injury on my finger is making it really weird to loom today, so bear with me. So after the horizontal, we're going to lay the same shape that we did here. So we will go straight on both centers and then out to the sides. We'll go back to the cream and lay an X. And then we will lay that blue shape again. So we will start by always laying the horizontal and then the 2 straights on the center and then out on the sides. For this design and for this first set, we don't go all the way down to the very end of the loom, but I will show you exactly where to stop and what it should look like when we get down there. So I just want to show you guys, I am getting close to the end of my loom. You can see I have 2 empty rows right here. I was looking at the spaces in between, but you can also look at the actual pins and see I have 2 empty rows. I am going to lay my last blue set right now. So I'm going to start like I normally would and lay my horizontal one and then my straights on the centers. And that's it. We're going to stop there. We are not going to lay a horizontal on the sides. And we're also not going to lay an X down here. We need it to end just like that. So we are going to put those bands to the side, take a second and push these down a little bit, and then we are going to choose our next color. And that next color is going to be the yellow that sits on the sides, and you see it right here a little bit. So I'm going to grab that now. We're going to start by laying straight ones on the outer rows. I'm just going to be working both sides at the same time. And now we're going to lay something very similar. We're going to act like we're laying the next one going straight, but we're not going to let it go. We also need to connect it to the pin next to it so that it's making that like triangle shape. So coming on the left side, I'm going to act like I'm laying this straight, but I'm not going to let it go. Pull it over and connect it to the pin right next to it. We're going to alternate laying those two. So we'll go back to laying it straight. And now we will lay that triangle. So connect it up like you're laying a single chain, but also connect it over to the pin next to it. Go back to your straight. And then triangle. We do not lay anything on the last row that has the blue bands, but I will show you that when I'm there, just so that no one is confused and you know what I mean. Alrighty, so I'm at the end of my loom, and as you can see, I ended mine with a triangle. We have our blue bands here in the middle. We don't want to lay anything next to it. So if you're looking at the two end rows, there should not be any yellow on those. So take a second to push those down, and then we're going to choose our next color. The one we're going to be choosing now is going to be the last color that we lay, and that's going to be this dark limited edition color here. It's really a dark blue. It looks kind of black in the camera, but that's what I'm going to be using now, and we're going to be laying a bunch of zigzags. So from this corner pin, we're going to do a diagonal stretch to the left, and then from there, we're going to go diagonally out to the right, and then back to the left. And we're just going to keep doing that diagonal zigzag down the loom. Like so. So go ahead and do that same exact thing on the left side, laying your zigzags going in and out until you reach the end of the loom. So I'll be a bit ahead of you, but once you are caught up, this is what it will look like once both sides are complete. So I did push mine down a little bit already. We're going to turn our loom around. We're going to grab your first color that you laid, which for me is my pastel blue. We're going to lay a cap band around these two front pins. I usually just wrap it around one. It's just a normal cap band. And then I use my hook and stretch it over so that it's wrapping around both. So to start, we're going to be looping the last bands that we just laid, which are going to be those long zigzags. They're just going to get looped back to themselves. This part's very easy. So I'm going to do the right side first. Bring that diagonal back to itself. Go in that loop that I just made. Grab my top band and bring that back to itself. And we're just going to follow that zigzag all the way up the loom. Going back and forth. Like that. We need to do the same thing to the left side. So you'll come back into your cap band, grab your top diagonal, loop it out, and then continue following it all the way up. So go ahead and get your left zigzag looped up, and I'll meet you back here. So this is what it will look like once you are caught up with me. We're going to come back to the beginning, and we're going to be looping the horizontal blue bands that are on every other row on the center two pins. It's the second band down in there. Technically, it's the third, actually. But if you're looking at it from this side of the pin, there's only one band you have to move. But to get started, we're going to skip the first set of pins that our blue bands are on. Come up to the second row. That's where our first horizontal band is. I'm going to go in the right pin first. I'm going to push back the top band. You kind of have to push the cap band out of the way too, but I got to move this yellow. You see my blue horizontal right here? It's the top band in there. Once you move that yellow, we're going to take this off the pin, and we need to stretch it diagonally outwards to the outer row. So it's the closest pin once you go diagonally up. Do the same on the left side, but this side's going to be tighter, so just be careful. So get inside there. Move your top yellow, grab the second band in, it's your horizontal blue, and loop it diagonally to the left. We have no band to loop on the next row. Come up to the next one, and you can see that this one has the horizontal blue right there. You can easily see it more here because we don't have the cap band blocking. So we're just going to move the top band out of the way, grab the second, and loop it diagonally outwards and up. Do the same to the left side. We're going to do that to every single one. So remember, the horizontals are only on every other row. So that was my last one right there. We have no more on the last 2 rows. So this is what it should look like. Make sure you didn't accidentally miss any. Again, push them down a little bit. Now we're going to be looping some of the side yellow bands, but not all of them. We're going to be looping the straight ones, not the triangular ones. We're going to be looping it from the back of the pin, not the bottom. So we're not going to do anything on the first or second pin. We're going to come up to the 3rd pin on the right. We need to grab that straight yellow band. You're going to take it off of the pin and just pull it down towards yourself and place it on the pin below. So if you're looking at the pin that you just sat it on, you're going to come up 3 pins. So here's 1, 2, and 3. That's where my next straight yellow one is. I'm going to reach right down into that blue band and grab my yellow one and pull it down. That's where I just looped it down to. I'm going to come up 1, 2, and 3. I see my straight yellow one is on there, so I'm going to go right down into this pin, grab that straight band, and loop it down. We're doing that on all of the straight ones. And don't forget to do this top one at the very top. Like so. So you have to make sure you do that on the left side as well. Remember, the first one that you're doing is the 3rd pin up on the left now. You're going inside and looping that yellow down. Go ahead and get that all looped down. Don't forget the top one, and I'll meet you back here. So mine is all done. So I'm going to come back to the beginning now. And now we're going to be looping the rest of the bracelet, starting down here at the cap band and working our way up. There are multiple steps involved. So down here, we're going to start by looping our pastel blue straight up. And then we're going to go into the pin that we just looped those up on, and we're going to loop that X. They do not get looped back to themselves. The right one, we're going to loop to the right and the left to the left. So grab the very bottom band on that pin and loop it to the right, to the pin right next to it. Do the same with the left one, but bring that one to the pin to the left. So now we are going to do a couple different loopings, and I'm going to do the right, and then we'll do the exact same thing on the left side. So on the corner pin here, we need to grab the bottom band that's in there, which is the corner of that triangle band. So whatever your bottom band is there, that's what you're grabbing. You're going to loop it up. It's going to be tight, and it isn't like a normal loop. So that's normal. Loop it up to the pin above it. Then we need to grab both of the yellow bands that are sitting right here. It is the, let me count, 2nd and 5th band down if you wanted to count. But the easiest way to locate them is to just grab them from right here, because you can clearly see them both. You're just going to flip them both over the pin so that it's sitting inside and it's like caught by the pin. Once you do that, we're going to grab the very bottom band in this pin and loop that horizontally inwards. We need to do those same steps on the left side. So we're going to come down here to this corner pin, grab the bottom yellow and loop it up. We need to flip those 2 yellows so you can clearly see them better on this side. I like to go down inside to grab them, but you can grab them out here as well, whatever's easiest. Grab both of those, flip it inside towards the loom so that it's stuck inside the pin, And then we're going to grab the very bottom band and loop it inwards, like so. So we are ready to do that whole process again. I kind of look at it like in little sections. So we're going to start the next one, and that starts with looping the bottom band straight. So I'm going to grab my pastel blue, that's the last band on this pin. I'm going to loop it straight there and then on the left side as well. There's a lot of bands on that pin, so just be careful with that one. My band's a little twisted. So we looped them straight, and now we need to loop the X band. So I need to grab the bottom X band, loop it horizontally to the right and to the left. After I finish those steps, I like to finish the section off by sticking to one side. So right where we left off looping the X band, we're going to grab the bottom band, which is my yellow triangle. We're going to loop that up. We're going to flip the two yellow bands sitting right above it right here over so it sits inside of the pin. And then we'll go inside that pin, grab the bottom band, and loop that horizontally in. We're going to do the same thing on the left side. So we need to start by grabbing the bottom triangle band, loop it up. We're going to flip our two yellow bands that are sitting right on top, and then loop our pastel blue inwards. And that was the end of our second section. We're going to do that all over again. So we will loop up our straight pastel blue. It's the very bottom band. Now we need to do our X. So we're going to grab the X band, loop it horizontally to the pin right next to it on both sides. And now I like to stick to one side. So remember, we grab the bottom triangle yellow band, loop it up, flip your two top yellows inside, and then loop the bottom band inwards. Repeat on the left side. So we will loop up our triangle yellow. We will flip the two top yellows and loop the pastel blue inwards. We're going to do that all the way up, so just keep following along with me. For this first round, I'm just going to keep saying what I'm doing just in case anyone has a hard time. So I just looped my pastel blue up. I am looping my X band to the pins right next to it. I'm going to loop my triangle yellow, which is the bottom band. I'm going to loop that up. We're going to flip the two yellows that sit on top. And then we'll loop the very bottom band on that same pin inwards. Repeat on the left side by looping up our triangle band, flipping our top yellows, excuse me, and looping in the pastel blue. We'll do that again by looping up our pastel blue, looping our X bands out to the pins next to them. We're going to loop our triangle band up. We will flip the top set of yellows and loop the very bottom pastel blue inwards. Repeat on the left, looping up our triangle, flipping those two yellows, looping our bottom blue in. And the only thing we have left to do is loop these two blues going straight like this. So hopefully that wasn't too challenging. But from here, we need to put a C-clip on all 4 of these pins. Now, I have lost a band on these when taking it off. So I like to C-clip all 4 and then carefully remove all of the outer rows with my hook. And then I gently remove the top ones, and I make sure that the C-clip did not come off of the 2 middle ones before I let it go. So I have all 4 of my top ones C-clipped. I did release these 2 outer ones. I'm going to leave those 2 connected until I have everything else off. just in case you don't want to lose a band and have everything unravel. So go ahead and carefully remove everything off the loom, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Just to show you guys, this is what it would look like when you take the first piece off of the loom. Make sure that all of your bands are still connected to your C-clip and your outer two. We are going to sit this piece to the side, and we're going to make our second piece now. So we need to make sure our loom has the openings facing away from us, and we are ready to start laying our second set. So for the second set of bands that we lay, it is very similar to the first time. There is only minor differences. So to get started, we will start this time with a horizontal band going straight across. And then we're going to start the pattern like we did the first time, where we go straight on the centers. And then we'll go horizontal to the right and left. And remember, this is the first color that you laid in the bracelet, the blue right there. Now we'll go back to the second color, which is our X's. And then we'll go back to the first one where we lay the horizontal straights and then the outer horizontals. And we're going to alternate these two colors all the way down the loom. And this time we are going to go all the way to the end. So the last thing that you lay should be an X in the center. So this is what it will look like once you get down to the end of the loom. Like I said, you will end at the end of the loom with an X. Now we do need to do one thing that we didn't do the last time. You're going to grab one more of your pastel blue, the color you used here, and we need to lay a horizontal band going across the center last two pins like that. So push all of those down, or at least the side ones, and we are going to go to our yellow glitter bands. And we're going to be laying the straight and triangle bands that we did on the side. This time we are not going to lay anything on the first pin. We're going to start on the second pin, and we will be starting with the triangle band. So you will connect it like you're laying it straight, and then connect it to the pin on the side, and do the same on the left one. Make sure they are the same direction, and then you can go ahead and lay your straight one after that. And now you're just going to keep alternating, laying triangle, straight, all the way down the loom. And I will show you what mine looks like when I get down there. So when you get to the end of your loom, I'm going to be ahead of you, so hit the pause button until you're caught up. You should end with the triangle at the end of your loom. But we need to turn the loom around for a minute. And for right now, we are going to undo this triangle. So just take your hook and release it so that the last ones are laying straight. And grab the first piece that you made, because we need to attach the center. So you want your bracelet to be facing up. So this is the signature side here, where you can see my dark blue band sitting there, my yellow stripe. You can see on the back side, I don't have the two yellow stripes in the center. So make sure it is the front side of the bracelet that you are connecting. And right now, we're only going to be connecting the two middle ones. So these blue right here. There's two bands on that C-clip. The right one needs to connect to the center right one, and the center left needs to connect to the center left one. So I just grab my whole C-clip, pull it out, and I either put it on my finger or I put it on my hook. I like to take my C-clip off now because I find that it's hard to get it off once I have it on the pin. Make sure you do get both bands back onto the pin. See that? We need to do the same thing to the left side. So I'm going to just push my hook through both of those two bands. And then remove the C-clip. And then we're going to attach them onto that pin. So both of those bands are now connected. We're not going to do anything with these ones right now. So we need to temporarily open these bands up. So we're going to grab this top pastel blue band right here, and we're going to sit it over here on the right. Now when I take it off, when I'm pulling it up, I'm not turning my hook or anything. I'm just lifting it up and moving it over, because you don't want to have that band twisted. It could affect how it looks in the end. Do the same to the left side. I like to turn my loom a little bit so that I don't twist my wrist. I'm going to pick up the top blue band and just temporarily stretch it over here and sit it on the left, like that. We now need to stretch that yellow band back over to make that triangle again. So I like to go right in here. I'm going to act like I'm going down straight into the middle of that yellow band. Grab the inner part of it and just stretch it down and connect it to the pin in the middle right there. So now we have that triangle back. We're going to do the same thing on the right side. So I'm going to grab the left side. Hopefully I didn't call this the left side. So on the left side, we're going to grab the inner band of the yellow, pull it over so that it connects to the center, like so. My stomach is growling. Okay, now that we've done that, we can put our blues back. So again, you don't want to twist them. So you're just going to grab the top blue band, take it off of the pin, and just transfer it back to the middle. You may have to hold your bracelet down to get it back on because it's a little loose. We're going to do the same thing on the right one. Just pick it up and transfer it back to the middle. We need it to have that triangle sandwiched between those blues. That's why we had to do that. So now that we've done that, we are going to turn our loom back around, and we're going to lay our last set of bands, which are going to be those zigzag bands. So if you didn't do so already, I would push your yellow bands down just to give us a little more room. And we are going to lay our zigzag bands, which is the last colors that we laid, my dark color. We are not going to lay anything on the first pins. We're going to come up to the second pins, and that's where our zigzag will start. But we don't start from the outer row. We start from the inside this time. So second pin down on the second bar pin in, and we'll go diagonally out to the right, and then in, and then just, I keep losing my voice, just like we did the first time, we're going to zigzag all the way down until we reach the very end of our loom. As you can see, it ends going outwards. You're going to come back and do the same exact thing to the left side. Make sure you start from the inner pin and go out like that. And now you're just going to follow that zigzag all the way down. So I'll meet you back here when my left side is finished. So once you're caught up with me, this is what it will look like. We are going to turn our loom back around now because we're done laying bands and we're ready to start looping. So there is a couple things that we'll have to do just to get started, and then it will be easy peasy just like the first time. So we do need to reconnect our sides on now of our first piece. So we're going to grab our outer C-clip, hold your bracelet down, pull on it so you can see, so you can see where the center is, and you get it connected on correctly. So I can see where that hole is when I stretch my C-clip, and you want to pop that hole right on to the pin. I like to usually remove my C-clip beforehand, but go ahead and remove that like that. And now we need to reconnect the left side. So I'm going to locate my C-clip, pull it out. This time I'm going to put my hook through it and pull it and get that C-clip off of there. Make sure that you see that O or that hole in the middle, and then connect it right on to the side pin. So that's what it should look like. So everything is connected now, and we are going to go ahead and start looping. We will need to mess with some things down here one more time, but not yet. So we are going to go ahead and loop the zigzags up just like we did the first time. They're just going right back to themselves. Follow these bands back and forth until you reach the top. You're going to do this on the right side and come back and do the same thing on the left, just like we did the first time, and I'll meet you guys back here when both of mine are complete. This is what it looks like at the top of my loom after both of my zigzags are done. So we're going to come back to the beginning, and we have to do some rearranging one more time temporarily. So we're going to come back to those 2 center pins, and we need to do the same thing we did the first time with the top blue band on these pins. We need to grab the top one without twisting. We're just going to temporarily sit it on the outside pin. We're going to do that to both sides. We couldn't do it when we had it open the first time because we had to have these bands looped up, in case anyone was wondering. So now that we've done that, we need to do that step where we stretch the horizontal band on every other row diagonally upwards. This first one is the hardest because there's a lot going on down here and it's kind of tight. So you need to get in here. There are technically 2 layers that you're moving. The third band down is that horizontal pastel blue right here. And you're going to pull that diagonally upwards and do the same on the left side. And remember, you skip the next one, come up to your next row. It's on every other row. And now from here on out, it should be just like the first time where you're looping that horizontal band diagonally up and outwards. So go ahead and do that to every horizontal band on the center. Hit that pause button until you're caught up. This is what it looks like now. So you can see all of mine are looped up. We're going to come back to the beginning. And we need to put those blue bands back where they belong now. We're going to be done rearranging. So I'm going to grab my right one. Remember, just lift it up. Don't do any twisting. I do have to pull mine back because it's kind of loose. But I'm not twisting. I'm just reattaching it. I'm not turning my wrist like this because that's not how I took it off of the loom. So I'm going to pick it up and sit it back down. If for some reason you do end up turning your wrist to reattach it, it is not the end of the world. But one thing I do want to say is stick around to the end, because when we first take it off of the loom from all the stretching we're doing here, you will see where we connected the bracelet. You're going to probably think you did something wrong because there's a good bit of like space or looseness. Stick around, I'll show you how to fix that, and you will not notice where we connected it. So from there, we're going to loop everything just like we did the first time. So we need to loop down our yellow straight bands. So there's nothing to do on the first or second pin on the side. Come up to the third where that yellow is. And remember, we need to go inside this dark band. We're grabbing the back side of that yellow and looping it down towards yourself. Remember, we only do this on the straight bands. We do not do it on the band that is a triangle. So come up to the third pin after that. Grab your straight band from the back side and loop it down. Go ahead and get your left side completed. Your first one will be right here on the third pin up, and then I'll show you mine when I'm done. Okay, so the last one is right here. There's no more on the last 3 pins after that one's looped. So we're going to come back to the beginning and we're going to start looping everything one by one as we go up the loom. So the first thing that we need to do on this first one is the X band. So push everything out of the way on the middle. Make sure you're getting in front of everything. See my bottom X band there? That's the last one in the pin. Loop that to the right and do the same to the left part of the X. And now I'm going to stick to the right side and loop up my bottom yellow, which is my triangle band. And then we're going to flip the top 2 yellows. And then loop the bottom horizontal pastel blue inwards. Come to the left and repeat the same process. So we will loop the bottom yellow triangle. We will flip the 2 yellows right here. And then loop our bottom pastel blue. From here on out, everything is going to be exactly the same as the first time we looped it. So we will loop these bottom blues going forward. And then we will loop our X band going to the right and to the left. And now we will loop our triangle band going up. We will flip the top 2 yellows and loop a horizontal in. Repeat on the left side. Loop up your triangle and flip your top 2 yellows and loop the pastel blue in. So I'm not going to go through and explain this part like I did the first time. If you do have any problems with this part, you can go back and watch the first set that I looped up, because from here on out, everything is identical. So I'm going to go ahead and get this looped up, and I will show you guys what it looks like when I am finished. So as I got to the top of my loom, I wanted to show you guys something so nobody gets confused. When you get to the last set up here, there's no top, excuse me, there's no top 2 yellows to flip over. So I looped up my triangle band. There's nothing to flip. You just go right back in and do the horizontal and bring it in. And then loop the last one straight to close it. So I just want to make sure nobody was confused by that. But since I'm here, and once you guys get to this point and we're at the top, we have our last horizontal band here. That is going to be for closing. So we just bring both ends together. You're going to grab one of those C-clips that we had earlier and close it off. I would recommend using your hook to release the sides. Also make sure you have a good hold of your C-clip to take those 2 off so that doesn't come undone. And I will show you my finished bracelet in a minute. Okay, you guys, so once you are caught up with me, I want to show you, you see, here's my bracelet. You can clearly see where we connected it. It looks like a big hole and like, oh, she didn't do it right. Trust me, we just have to fix the band. So the first thing that I do is I locate this little cream band right here under the hole, and I use my hook, if I can ever get a hold of it. There we go. I pull on it pretty good. And I do the same thing to the opposite side. I do that to the bottom one under the hole. And I do it to the one on top of it as well, because they get really stretched out for some reason. After I pull them, I go up and down with it. You can see that helped a little bit. You can do it again to the one under the hole, because they get really stretched out in the middle. But the second thing that I do is I grab these black bands that are sitting where the hole is. My hole kind of closed up from pulling those bands there. But I put my hook in here where my 2 dark blue bands are, and I pull on them a little bit. Not too much, but enough to where it looks like they're poking out. And then I go up and down with it again. And you can see it filled that hole in. So that's it. If you feel like the hole is still there, keep pulling these bands right here, because that's what fills the hole. If these are pulled too tight, these little cream bands, if they're too tight inwards, you need to pull them from the sides, and it helps tighten that middle up. And that the same goes for any other part of the bracelet if it looks like that. Once you fix that, you're just going to locate your cap band down here, connect it to your C-clip, and you are good to go. But that is it. That is how you create my Calabasas bracelet using a transfer. I hope this video was not too difficult, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did like it, don't forget to hit the like button. And also, if you make one, I'd love to see a rendition on Instagram. So don't forget to tag me on there. But that will be it for today, you guys. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you really soon at my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.